Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. It is 10:11, so just a heads up, if you find this on your Facebook feed or if you find this a little later, you may get a push notification on your phone on the Be Our Proud app about us doing this live stream. Here we are again, tracking the tropics, Tropical Storm Zeta, which is currently in the Caribbean. It's held its act together this morning, running into some wind shear in the Caribbean, but it is not yet a hurricane, but it is forecast to become a hurricane later today as it takes aim at the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's currently 140 miles southeast of Cozumel, Mexico. So broad view of it at the moment. Not just talking about that, we are going to talk about a cold front. You can tell where the cold front is in Texas. 27 degrees right now in Lubbock, 32 in Oklahoma City, whereas Austin, even here in Baton Rouge, we're in the 70s. And behind that cold front, that's where we have that cool, dry air that is just pushing in. This is all in wake of this cold front. And so there is a winter mess in the plains right now. You can see some of the pinks and the purples. That's indicating some ice and some snow. And what we're dealing with right now is pretty nice conditions, I would say, sun and clouds. And today is going to be a day where we have very nice conditions. This is all ahead of Zeta, which I'm going to get to in a minute. I'm allowing some folks to get in and join us. Let me know if you can hear us. If we are, I do believe we are on Facebook, so I do want to allow some folks to join in and say where they're watching from, and then just talk between everyone. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer those as well. So let's get started. So I know it's been a busy season. Here's a look at some of the storms that we had along the northern Gulf Coast and the western Gulf Coast this season. Louisiana specifically for landfalls, 4 named storms, and we may be looking at yet another named storm, and this one would be again Tropical Storm Zeta. So the current forecast path has it moving across the Yucatan Peninsula tonight as a hurricane, and then moving into the Gulf of Mexico Tuesday morning, and it's likely going to intensify. In the south or the southern Gulf of Mexico, conditions are more favorable for these storms to thrive and to intensify. So we're not expecting rapid intensification, maybe a short window, but the National Hurricane Center has it intensifying possibly into a strong Cat 1 hurricane before it nears the coast of Louisiana. That would occur Wednesday evening. The current forecast track brings it into southeast Louisiana Wednesday evening as a hurricane, minimal Cat 1 hurricane, and then it moves it inland and it's going to accelerate to the northeast. And I mean, even just from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, it's going to accelerate off to the northeast. So this is going to be a very quick moving system. It's not going to be one that just sits at the coast and dumps buckets of rainfall. That's not what we're expecting, thankfully. We're going to have a dip in the jet stream, a strong cold front's moving in, and that's going to pull it to the north, and then eventually it's going to track to the northeast. We just have to see when that turn is going to occur, because that's going to tell us where it's ultimately going to go. The cone of uncertainty, keep in mind that's where the center of the storm could track toward, and so that includes central Louisiana and then all the way to the Florida Panhandle. So the cone of uncertainty is still quite broad, but the most likely scenario is it may move ashore near Morgan City, maybe Terrebonne Bay, Grand Isle, Port Fourchon, maybe the mouth of the river. But a southeast Louisiana landfall is looking more likely. Looking at some of the tropical models showing just that, but of course there's still time for error. We don't have any watches up just yet. The National Hurricane Center will likely issue those this afternoon. So if you get any push notifications on your phone saying that there's a hurricane watch or a tropical storm watch this afternoon, you know it's associated with Zeta. And then that would mean that hurricane or tropical storm conditions are possible within the next 48 hours. So the weather setup, what is going to occur? So right now we have basically this high pressure that's going to steer it to the west-northwest and then eventually to the northwest. The incoming cold front and then that trough, I was telling you about that digging trough, that's going to eventually steer it to the northeast. We just have to see when that turn is going to occur. This is also the GFS model showing a curve to the northeast, and then maybe making landfall in southeast Louisiana. Now the European model's been a little more to the west, and so the National Hurricane Center uses a bunch of these models, and they're kind of going more, looks as though, toward the GFS model. So I will walk you through everything, but again, we have that cold front coming in from the west, and if the cold front slows down, then that turn might not happen as soon and as expected, and it could maybe make more of a westerly jog. Now, if the cold front speeds up a little bit, then it's going to take more of an easterly turn, maybe toward the Mississippi, Alabama, Gulf Coast, or even northwest Florida. But the most likely scenario at this point will likely be a southeast Louisiana landfall. So this is the GFS American model. Showing you potentially a landfall Wednesday evening along the southeast Louisiana coastline, and then look how fast it's in and out of here. This is Thursday morning and we're dry. So again, it's not going to be an event where we have 24, 36 hours of relentless rain or wind or anything like that. Now the European model's a little slower and it's more to the west, and it's a little stronger as well. The European model shows a Wednesday night landfall, more so late overnight, potentially near Vermilion Bay and Atchafalaya Bay, bringing some of the most impacts, or the greatest impacts, toward the Baton Rouge Metro and along I-55, southeast Louisiana and the North Shore, and then it has it lingering through Thursday morning. But all in all, the cold front's going to move in and out of here, and so we're going to look at much better conditions by Thursday morning. This is a product from the National Hurricane Center, kind of showing the probability of tropical storm force winds. Notice the Baton Rouge area, around 20 to 30%. So our probability being on the west side of the current forecast path, the chance for the sustained tropical storm force winds much lower. Now closer to the coast where you have these oranges and then even closer to the red, that's where you're going to have the greatest probability of seeing these tropical storm force winds, but higher probabilities exist along the Mississippi, Alabama, and even northwest Florida coast, because again, impacts will be felt well away from the center and mainly near and east of the center as well. So the latest rainfall estimates, now this is based on the National Hurricane Center's path. This is showing a very narrow swath of where the highest rainfall totals will likely occur. Again, this is where the National Hurricane Center's track is based, showing the Baton Rouge Metro maybe not even getting an inch of rainfall. Right now, we're saying 1 to 3 is a good bet. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on the ultimate track. But the highest rainfall totals will be near and east of the center. 2 to 4 inches possible for the New Orleans Metro, same for the North Shore. Mississippi Gulf Coast, possibly 3 to 6. But again, this is going to be a very fast-moving system, so we're not expecting widespread flooding issues. But if you get caught under a rain band, some of these rainfall amounts could double or triple. We saw that with previous storms as well. The risk for tornadoes will be there, but not as great being on the west side. Now, if it shifts more to the west, then this probability will increase. This is for Wednesday and Wednesday night, but the threat for tornadoes will be east of the center, north and east of the center, and that's where we have a marginal risk for severe weather. That includes areas along and east of the I-55 corridor. So here's kind of some of the takeaways, the potential impacts. Now, this is subject to change. This is based on the current track from the National Hurricane Center. As I mentioned, preliminary estimates 1 to 3 inches, locally higher in rain bands. The Baton Rouge Metro, maybe we can see sustained winds 15 to 25, maybe up to 30 with gusts 30 to 45 or greater. So some of that would be tropical storm force wind gusts. Again, the strongest winds are going to be near the coast and near and east of the center. And as I mentioned, spin up tornadoes, that possibility will exist, but more so near and east of where Zeta moves ashore. Coastal flooding for tidal lakes will be likely regardless of where it tracks. The magnitude of that, we're going to have to wait and see what the National Hurricane Center says when they issue these storm surge watches. The National Weather Service will get with the National Hurricane Center and they'll come up with some of these totals for storm surge and then the coastal flooding. So again, as I mentioned, the magnitude of the impacts really greatly depend on Zeta's track, and what you can do now being that we are a little more than 48 hours out. Check back in with us frequently for updates. Be sure to secure those Halloween outdoor decorations today and tomorrow before it starts to get a little breezy while it's quiet, and then make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. We say that whether it's for a hurricane, a tropical storm, or for severe weather. Keep in mind we're also in severe weather season, not just hurricane season. Go ahead, walk your yard, check the storm drains, check the gutters, all of that to make sure they're clear so you don't have any issues in the long term. And also, if you have tapped into your hurricane kit, which we most likely have since we've had 4 landfalling storms, landfalling named storms here in Louisiana this season alone, replenish those items and be sure to download the BR Proud app. It's free. It's a fantastic tool to have. You will get push notifications if there's a watch or a warning for your area, and you can stay up to date with the storm tracker team every step of the way. We'll stream to you live. And in case you were wondering about Halloween, so this cold front's moving in, right? Well, that's going to move in Thursday morning, so our weather's looking much better. Trick or treat forecast temperatures are going to be in the 60s. Most likely the low and mid 60s, so the little kiddos will need a jacket, or if you're going to do anything, you'll likely want a jacket over your costumes as well. During the day, low 70s. At night, temperatures will be in the mid 50s. So looking at the 7-day forecast, just so you can kind of see, tomorrow, more so late in the day, that's when we'll start to see some of those outer rain bands from Zeta pushing ashore. Those could produce heavy rain and some gusty wind. More specifically, Wednesday. That's when we would likely see the greatest impacts. Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, maybe early Thursday, cold front moves through. We start to clear out. Temperatures are going to drop. We'll only be in the low and mid 70s on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Temperatures are going to be phenomenal if you like cool weather. Upper 60s, lower 70s. Overnight temperatures will be in the 40s and 50s. So again, if you are just joining us, if you have any questions, comments, concerns on Zeta, again, it is forecast to make landfall on Wednesday, most likely Wednesday evening, as a hurricane or strong tropical storm, most likely in southeast Louisiana, but the cone still includes central Louisiana all the way to the Florida Panhandle, so there's still room for error. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, I will be more than happy to answer them. We'll have another update from the National Hurricane Center at 1, but we won't have another track until 4 o'clock, and that's when we will likely have some of those tropical storm and hurricane and storm surge watches issued. So again, we're going to wrap things up, and we will bring you the latest right here on brproud.com, our BR Proud app. Again, it's a fantastic tool to download. It's available in the App Store and the Google Play Store and on our social media platforms. So stay weather aware, check back in with us, and we're going to wrap things up. We'll see you soon. Take care.